time, I want Honorable Chakamondo's issue to be handled of the hospital which is closed in Kapchora. I'll give you time, but let's deal with her issue.
Madam Speaker,
Honour members, please don't divert from the issue raised by Honourable Chekamondo. I know that thing is important, but she raised an issue about Kapchora Hospital being closed, about staff being sick, patients being sick. That's what we need to address now. Yes.
Madam Speaker, you know the terrain of Kapchora, and you know how difficult it is. You have ever traveled in this area, Kwen, Bukwo, and other districts that fall under this hospital. It's really very difficult to bring now somebody from Bukwo to Mbale. Even Mbale right now is overwhelmed. So, Madam Speaker, we are requesting kindly the Minister of Health comes up and really has the hospital reopened, provide them with protective gear, and beef up the staff so that the hospital is put into operation. Right now, it needs fumigation and the other things so that the staff can reorganize and start. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honour members, I want to confirm the situation in Kapchora. On Friday, I was driving to Busoga, and I received a call from one of the citizens in Kapchora telling me that they have this alarming situation, and I contacted Honourable Nabanja, who said something was being done. But now, Minister, you are here. You tell the country what you have done on that issue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank my colleague for raising this very important matter on this floor of Parliament. Recall last week the same issue was raised here. It's very unfortunate that it is come again, but Madam Speaker, I want to say it is true, Kapchora District Hospital currently is not offering all the services that is supposed to offer. It is only handling emergency services in maternity ward, emergency services in theater, and other few parts in the hospital. This is simply because, Madam Speaker, a high level of health workers from Kapchora Hospital have been confirmed with coronavirus. A total of 22 healthcare workers were confirmed with the cases, and we registered 2 cases that have died. Very unfortunate. May their souls rest in eternal peace. Following that high number of health workers, services could not be provided as expected. Number 2, the health facilities, the wards, and the places where the health workers have been working needed to be fumigated, and interventions needed to be put in place before services could resume. Number 3, we needed to redeploy healthcare workers and to reorganize the staffing within the district and outside the district. Madam Speaker, these were the plan of action that we are put in place together with the district leadership of Kapchora district. However, I want to confirm that yes, as you have said, my colleague has been in touch with the Director General Healthcare Services at the Ministry of Health to ensure that the hospital is fumigated, staffs are rearranged and deployed so that services can start getting to be offered for the people of Kapchora. However, Madam Speaker, I want to note that this has not yet been done as of to date. But I want to pledge to the people of Kapchora and to the entire country that my ministry and the people who have been assigned to do this as a matter of urgency are working on it, and to ensure in the next a couple of weeks or by next week, this should be able to resume. My colleague raised a number of issues as regards to the hospital. Of course, we need to move in phased manner. For now, what is important is to see that services have come back to the people. The hospital is in position to offer services. Protective wears have been given to the health workers, and of course, the communities have been sensitized about the danger of COVID-19. Madam Speaker, the other questions that have been put by my colleague of upgrading the hospital to a regional status, the issues, that one can be discussed at a later time. But as we are all aware, it has a criteria, it has a procedure to be followed right from the district council approval as it comes high to the ministry. So for now, I request that we could look at the phased manner of reinstating the services in the hospital so that the services can be given to the people. Madam Speaker, allow me make this comment that currently Uganda is in phase 4 of coronavirus. That means we've got extensive community transmission of infection. At the same time, a number of health workers are getting the infection. To date, we have 403 healthcare workers that have been tested positive from 54 districts in this country. And out of that, we've lost so far 6 healthcare workers. Very unfortunate. These people have committed their life, they have dedicated their service to save our country, but unfortunately, they are contracting the virus. Those are the reasons why services in some of the hospitals, including my own district hospital, is having a lot of challenges because of the staffs getting infected. And I want to commit once again that as we work in the new intervention in terms of policy shifting and intervention targeting community-based strategy with proactivity of the community, things will get a little bit control. Finally, Madam Speaker, this is a phase 4 of infection transmission. It's a phase that calls for collective community strategy. It's a phase that needs community mitigation strategy in order to control the spread of corona in the country. I thank you.
Thank you. Honourable members, I invite Honourable Mbwa. Now, Honourable Mbwa is going to raise an issue which was raised before, but because it has not been attended to, is now recurrent. Honourable Mbwa, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the matter is about power blackout in almost most of the police barracks in this country. Right Honourable Speaker, at least most of the police barracks like Kawempe, Wandegea and in Zambia have not been having power for almost a month. And Right Honourable Speaker, my biggest concern is that now that the Minister of Education came here and told us how our learners, our children, our pupils are supposed to learn through virtual learning, and of which they are supposed to consider when promoting the lower learners. Now, my major concern is our police have been denied the right to access power, which means their children, their sons and daughters cannot even learn like other peoples in this country. So, Right Honourable Speaker, my biggest concern is it a deliberate way by our government to make sure that they are punishing these police officers? Because the matter came here some time back, you made instructions, they reinstated their power for almost 2 weeks, and ever since then, it is recurring again. So, Right Honourable Speaker, yes, it is what?
Thank you, colleague, for giving way. Right Honorable Speaker, I think as government we need to be too considerate. These officers die for this country. These officers sacrifice for this country. And the children of these officers must live to the good things that people in this country enjoy. It's because these police officers can't demonstrate. Otherwise, they would have demonstrated long ago, Right Honorable Speaker. More than 3 months ago here, Right Honorable Speaker, I was here. I raised the same issue, and they had promised to do something for these people. But we should not take it for granted that since these people can't demonstrate like others, they should be punished and mistreated. I think, Right Honorable Speaker, we request that you use your office. This time it may not be a request, but a directive. If we really feel that the police officers do work for this country and they are there for us, they sleep at night, they sleep outside their homes. Their children are now supposed to go back to school, but they can't have where to read from, as if they are paying, they are serving a punishment. We request that you use your office, Right Honorable Speaker, this time, so that this government can hear and do something for these people that can't demonstrate like us.
What information? Just information. Yes, some more. Madam Speaker, I want to thank my colleague here for giving way. We are talking about the police officers. The issue of load shedding, I don't know what it's called, load shedding or whatever, I don't know what to call it these days. And Madam Speaker, it is also surprising as we talk now. Even these days you get shocked. Even the female officers, the women, are also deployed to work at night. And given the fact that, Madam Speaker, there is no power at night, and ladies, the police officers who are also women are also working at night. In that scenario, Madam Speaker, you as an advocate of women's rights, and given the fact there's load shedding or no power, I want to give you information to this friend of mine that as you talk about the other one, you must also know that there are also police ladies who are working at night, but at the same time, given the fact that there is no power at night. So you know what that means. So I want the Madam Speaker that to be held. I need to be helped so that we sort out some of these problems once for all. I thank you.
Please conclude.
So as I conclude, Madam Speaker, we seriously need your intervention because the police is so vulnerable. They don't have any direct representative in this parliament. That's why you cannot hear UPDF crying. So it's us who are supposed to rescue them. So my prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, is the minister should come here with a comprehensive statement why these people have been marginalized with their families. And Right Honorable Speaker, I also pray that if you can give a directive to make sure that maybe within 24 hours they can restate their power. I thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
On a member time, and the minister has not come to answer us, and because we are about to go on recess, Minister of Internal Affairs, but is she the supplier of, okay, Minister supply, okay, thank you, Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, where the police falls, now the power supply is on prepaid. Prepaid means you pay, then you are able to access the power. Now this matter came up, and it was a directive from government that they should budget and pay. So I think the problem should go to my colleague, the Minister of Internal Affairs, or maybe the IGP, why they don't replenish. Because Umeme says they put them on prepaid, so you pay, then you are able to access the power. Thank you very much.
Hey. Let's hear from the...
Thank you.
Wait, let's hear from the side.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, like you've heard, it's quite appalling that the Minister in charge of Energy comes to address the House on such a very important sector of government that touches national security. Recently, we've had a prison break in this country. Police barracks and police stations do have armories. We have a lot of sensitive things in police barracks other than people. Now, for one ministry to throw a niche to another ministry as though they do not sit in the same cabinet is really, really appalling, and a vote of no confidence in the integrity of this government. The most important thing should be, Right Honorable Speaker, is that in what country do you envisage that key sectors, for example, health, hospitals, military garrisons, do have to pay prepaid, knowing that appropriation of this money is not based on the same. It's based on projections. Where is the patriotism we are talking about in this country when the national referral hospitals, the police barracks, and key institutions of government cannot have power supplied from the same government? And you have to wait for companies like Umeme and other companies to supply power to key government institutions? Now, what sort of agreements are we signing for this nation? If our own institutions, before we realize, Right Honorable Speaker, you will find that during a surgery in a national referral, we shall have a power outage when some of you are in hospital. These are not things as the August House we should condone. Therefore, if there is any shortfall, the Minister of Finance should be able to immediately write and tell those people of Umeme that, listen, your monies could have delayed, but police garrisons, military installations, hospitals should not run out of power and water. These are very important and key institutions of government. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I find the answer from the Minister of Energy still wanting, and it's not in the spirit of nationalism and patriotism.
Okay, honourable members, let us ask the Minister in charge of the sector to come tomorrow first to confirm whether the barracks are on Yaka, and also tell us why he has not paid. So Internal Affairs should come here tomorrow. We need the police to be comfortable before we go for recess. So tomorrow, Minister of Internal Affairs, come and update us on the issue of the power supply to the various barracks in Uganda. Honourable Akol.
Madam Speaker, I rise on a matter of national importance. And Madam Speaker, this issue is about the power where over 60 people invaded the area on Sunday, on 27th. Madam Speaker, as I walk here, you see I'm on phone. The place is on tension. About 20 of them have been arrested now by the UPDF, but there are many others who have come, and they are totally over 100 now. And these are people who are coming from Germany. They're armed with bows and arrows, and I've been informed that there were over 10 people protecting them, and they're attacking the village, whereby they destroy your home, and then they wreck their own place, and they start staying in your home. They remove the foodstuff, they are killing cows and goats from the people in the village. Madam Speaker, a similar situation happened in 2017, where over 12 people were killed. And Madam Speaker, we are worried that these people are organized by the politicians from the Germany side.
You're well aware that the report was read here
But,
on
Honourable
the floor
Member,
of Parliament.
sometimes you make very, very sweeping allegations. Please, just state the issue. Don't start allocating blame, because we don't know.
Madam Speaker, I withdraw that, but to be sincere, it is there in the report of the committee, the select committee. Madam Speaker,
Point of procedure.
Based on his allegation and your guidance that he should not allege issues on other people, especially the politicians, which I've heard about, want it to be procedural right for him to withdraw that statement, which he said that the people who are organizing for these attacks are politicians from Ajuman district, unless he substantiates. Thank you.
Your Honourable Akol, please withdraw.
Madam Speaker, maybe the honourable member is not, he has not come with his ears here in the House, because I made it very clear that I withdraw the statement.
Okay.
I made
Statement
it clear
withdrawn.
here. I made it clear.
Right Honourable Speaker.
I withdrew the statement,
Right
Madam
Honourable
Speaker.
Speaker, but still, the Honourable colleague said, unless I have not come with my ears in this House, yet I came with my ears, I heard the issues, and that's why I was able to raise this matter. Can also that phrase be raised? Can he withdraw that statement that he's assuming that I have not come with my ears? When I listened, and it was based on that, I came to raise this matter.
Madam Speaker, I think I'm talking over a serious issue involving human life.
Order, Right Honourable Speaker.
And Madam Speaker, I don't want to be distracted.
No, Honourable Akol, I heard you say that she may not have come with her ears.
Yes.
And she has
Madam
told that-
Speaker, the ears is covering the ears. I don't know whether she has the ears or not.
No.
No, please.
Because I made the
Akol.
statement clear, Madam
No.
Speaker.
Withdraw it, just withdraw it.
I withdraw the statement.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable.
Madam Speaker, the issue I'm raising is a serious issue that involves human life, and we have lost human life in this similar situation in Apa. And as I talk now, the people are invading the village, and that's why when I'm talking, sometimes you see you have the pain. Madam Speaker, these are individuals with bows and arrows who have invaded the village, and people are in disarray as I talk now. I have just been informed that about 20 of them have been arrested, but the others are still, in the village. Madam Speaker, I really request that first of all, we have this debate on the floor of this House. We need to come out with a position as a House. So I request that this should be taken as a serious issue, if we can debate this matter of APA, because the select committee gave the reports, and then the minister also came and she read our reports. I think it is important that the House should come out with a position on this issue of APA. Two, Madam Speaker, I request that there must be some active way of dealing with emergency, because since Sunday, the people have been calling, they reported to the police, they reported to the soldiers, and nobody was going to the area until now, as I talk. They have just arrived. So I request that the Minister of Defense and Internal Affairs should take a serious step of actually coming out with a detach of the police and the UPDF to protect the people in this area called Acholibe. And Madam Speaker, these people have suffered a lot, including as we are now preparing to vote, there are no electoral activities in this area. Not even the voters update when the polling stations are there. There are over 2,000 voters since 2016. There have been no election for the special interest group in the area. And Madam Speaker, I request that we find out from the Minister of Justice and Electoral Commission why the people are treated as if they are not Ugandan. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Okay, now members, certainly we need to conclude the debate on the PA, but also, fortunately, I've said that some of them have been arrested, but let us urge the government to move faster and ensure that all those who are walking around with bows and arrows in a PA are apprehended. But there's also the issue of being disenfranchised. I hope the Attorney General Minister of Justice is listening to ensure that those people, if they're there, should be able to exercise their rights. You please find out the situation in APA to enable them to enjoy their rights. Honorable Cooper quickly, then Honorable Babiku. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, yesterday one of the candidates for the members of for one of the candidates for the elderly came to my office with a concern that really needs to be addressed, and he came with me with the list of the voters or the delegates that are going to vote in the eastern part of this country. Madam Speaker, the matter that he raised is constitutional in nature. It is surprising that, Madam Speaker, in some districts, the delegates are only men. There is no lady, and yet we have a provision of having a third in the executive. So some districts have the executive of the elderly without female representation. Madam Speaker, if you allowed me to name, I'll pass you a there. You have Bugiri, Serere, where I come from, Bugweri, Kaliro, Namaingo, Bududa, Kwen, Kapchorwa, Namisindwa, Butebo, and Chibuku are some of the districts with no human representation in the executive of the elderly, where the delegates who are coming to vote. How can this be allowed to happen? So the Minister for Constitutional Affairs, Attorney General, and the Electoral Commission should address this before elections can take place. Because if election took place, this is something which can be challenged in the courts. So, Madam Speaker, I passed you a copy of the delegates who are supposed to vote from the eastern region. So, Madam Speaker, this is the concern of the representatives. It may not only be limited to eastern part of this country. It may be something that cuts across the whole country. And some, Madam Speaker, you find there is only one lady or one woman among the delegates. So we cannot allow this to continue. I think that's if they are going to vote soonest, this thing should be something suspended and this matter is sorted out. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, maybe just remove Vogweri. I've cited one woman there, Safina. On the same issue?
Right Honourable Speaker, earlier on you requested Honourable Wakafuzi, who happened to be the Deputy Attorney General, to handle the matter of APA. As I remember, Mr. Wakafuzi, before being appointed the Deputy Attorney General, we were together on the same committee, the Selected Committee investigating APA. Honourable Speaker, why I came up, that issue is very hot to members. So now if Honourable Wakafuzi is the one again to come up with a solution, they may think there is a lot of unfairness.
No. What we are asking him to check, we have been told that there are some 2,000 people who may not vote because there is no plan for them to vote. That's what I'm asking him to check.
Most obliged.
Yes. But Honourable Wakafuzi, in the same vein, I want to ask you to review the membership throughout the country of the elderly to see that they comply with the provisions of the law. Otherwise, we may not be able to raise what we agreed in the law.
Right Honourable Speaker, I've taken note of the concern. I'll get back to you after doing the necessary search.
Right Honourable Speaker, I rise under Rule 128(2) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, seeking permission of the House through you for an extension for the Climate Change Committee to report back on the bill to the House. I beg to submit.
Honourable members, there's a request from the Committee on Climate Change. They have not been able to complete the bill. They're requesting for enlargement of time to 30 days.
30 days.
Honourable members, is that okay? 30 days? Okay, 30 days time granted to the Committee on Climate Change.
Very much.
Now, yes, Honourable Big had something?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues. I'm rising on a matter of national importance. That is the worsening status of roads in my district. Right Honourable Speaker, I have been in touch with the Ministry of Works, but they could not help us so much because of lack of funding. Right Honourable Speaker, the pressure over the ministry kept increasing because of the increasing floods in the country, and also the support from the local governments to work on these roads has been depleted. Therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, I'm requesting that Ministry of Works will come and present the challenges it is facing, but also government to come with a position to help Ministry of Works to support the poor status of roads in our districts. Right Honourable Speaker, my villages are cut off from each other, therefore making movement so difficult. And Right Honourable Speaker, this is harvesting time. Crops are rotting because they cannot be transported. Thank you so much.
Members, the Minister of Works is requested to address the situation in Adjumani and ensure that there's accessibility, and he could report to us when we return from the recess. Now, members, when we started, we were a bit few. There were issues I wanted to communicate, but I think we have a few more members now. I just want to remind the honourable members that on Thursday, 1st October, we shall go on recess, or the independence recess, and resume on 27th October 2020. This is to enable members seeking re-election participate in the electoral activities in their constituencies. I call upon the executive, there is work between now and Thursday to be brought and we complete it. In addition, honourable members, on Saturday, 26 September 2020, the country received with profound shock the news of the death of former mayor of Kampala, Alhaji Nasser Ntege Sevagara, which occurred at IHK International Hospital. His death is yet another blow to the entire country after the death of other prominent personalities that occurred this month. Haji Sevagara rose to fame when twice he was elected mayor of Kampala, and also when he ran for the highest office in the country, the presidency, in 2016 election, before eventually dropping out. He is described by many as enthusiastic and enterprising personality who wished everyone success in their livelihood, and consistently appealed to government to ensure equity in the share from where the nickname Seya was derived. I think it was a bit like national dialogue. He wanted a share of the national cake. He thought it was right of the Ugandans to receive from those who are privileged, from the middle and lower class of citizens. For that, the country will miss him. At the time of his demise, he had expressed interest to run for office of the mayor of Kampala City Council, Kampala Capital City, under the National Unity Platform ticket. Honourable members, for me at a personal level, when I was the first woman to open chambers in Uganda, but he is the man who had confidence to bring me the first business when I was a very young person. So I remember him for that. So now members, I invite you to stand and observe a moment of silence in his honor.
May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Honourable members, there is one or two other issues but this one is important for the Minister of Finance and the government. I have a letter from the Uganda Manufacturers Association raising concerns over the blockade of Ugandan goods by the Republic of Kenya. They applaud Parliament for the debate on the blockade which we had here, but they say that a lot has been lost. For instance, they say our export trade within 1 year with Kenya shrank by 60%. GDP growth dropped from 6% in 2019 to 3.2 in 2019-2020. Industry performance has dropped from 5.9 in 2019 to 2.2% in 2019-2020. Manufacturing value added dropped from 7.4% 2018-2019 to 3.1% in 2019-2020. Services value added dropped from 6.1% in 2018-2019 to 5.4% in 2019-2020. Tax collection dropped from 2.7 trillion to Uganda shillings 1.82 trillion. Value added monetary terms dropped from Uganda shillings 7.42 trillion to 7.17 trillion. Employment in manufacturing has contracted by 65%, while production has reduced by 70%. Over 350 farmer groups, each with an average of 1,500 farmers, are stranded with raw materials. Now, honourable members, they require the Uganda government notify the Republic of Kenya of Uganda's readiness to institute retaliatory measures against Kenya originating goods and services that trade in Uganda should the Republic of Kenya fail to comprehensively address and resolve all the sticky non-tariff barriers by 31st December 2020, since the EAC framework has failed to resolve the said non-tariff barriers despite the process of common market under the EAC regime. The foregoing position is formed by the continued unwillingness of Kenya to even respond to reasonable protest note issued by Uganda over the same. They require government to champion legal and structural changes of the EAC with the objective of creating a robust EAC whose organs optimally function to promote the ideals of the EAC as enshrined in the treaty. They also say Parliament should appropriate additional resources to the education sector, which is home for now 15 million Ugandans, with the view to local market broadening for milk and locally made textiles. Various studies by UNICEF confirm that there is widespread stunted children in Uganda, that despite the universal primary education and universal secondary education program, 35% of children drop out of school by senior one. They also want us to appropriate more money to the Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives, Export Promotion Board, Uganda Insurance Regulatory Authority, etc., etc. I'll be sending the letter to the Minister of Finance, but these are the feelings of the Uganda Manufacturers Association about the blockade. Then I did inform you last week that we had received an appeal from this is about the dropping of casinos. Both the workers and the employers are suffering, but they brought a proposal of what they are able to do in order to meet the SOPs with the government. So we shall be sending this to the government. Actually, they attached a protocol and guidelines from the Republic of Kenya, which has started the gradual opening of gaming activities during the COVID pandemic. So I would want to ask the minister to study them and see what we can borrow from the guidelines from Kenya. So now, members, we now go to item 3.
Item 3 on the order paper, bills first reading.
Yes, Honorable Monsreko.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, as we broke off Parliament last week, you requested the Minister in charge of Finance to come and address this House on the matter of the tax increment on the issue of materials and apparels. The whole country is awaiting the response from the Ministry of Finance because the waiver or the time waiver they gave closes on the 1st of October. Right, Honorable Speaker, over 50 containers and orders that were made by various Ugandans are now either stuck in Mombasa or others have even failed to make their shipments at the moment. The reason is that the tax is very high. This House expressed its discontent, and honorable members all over expressed their displeasure. The Minister of Finance promised, Right Honorable Speaker, to come up with the response. In your communication, Right Honorable Speaker, you have made it clear that on the 1st of October we may go for recess. This is the only House where our countrymen expect answers, and real answers to address their issues. Taxes are formulated from this House, and it's only this House that has the powers to do away with these taxes that are exorbitant. Right Honorable Speaker, we may find people hanging themselves or closing business. A shift of a tax, like you stated, Right Honorable Speaker, from 40 million shillings per container to over 400 million shillings, and one from 200 to over 1.2 billion in a space of 2 months is unacceptable. We can't sit here as legislators and we think everything is going the way it is. Our people are going to commit suicide. We need answers now. The Minister of Information, you can see how smart Honorable Franca is in the Ugandan-made dress, and this is what we are talking about.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, my honorable colleague, for giving me the opportunity to give you information over this matter. Madam Speaker, if one takes time and moves around town, just in Kampala downtown here, and you see the way most businesses have closed, Madam Speaker, something has to be done over this matter, and unless we do it, the country is going to lose in terms of incomes, because the moment these businesses close forever, we shall not realize even the little that we would expect from the taxes. So it is better that the government comes very fast and address this matter so that people are able to do business. At least let them earn something little, Madam Speaker. People have lost a lot in the COVID season, and again we are imposing impossible taxes. And that one has explained the reason why if you moved in town, you will find most malls and shops are closed, Madam Speaker. I beg.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and the Honorable Franca. Comrades and colleagues, when we talk about the issue of apparels and materials that make clothes for the poor people in this country, it means a lot. The gomasis that are donned by our women in the villages, there is no reason as to why you can levy, or that as to why we that is based on kilos of materials and not the size of the material. It is wrong. It defeats all canons of taxation. It defeats the principle of certainty in taxation. It defeats the canon or all canons of taxation. No one can explain what the Minister of Finance did. When we were downtown with the officials from the Uganda Revenue Authority, they also admitted that ordinary Ugandans are going to walk out of business. So, where is our patriotic call as members of Parliament when we should stand up for our people and protect the local small enterprises?
Hold on, sir, for a minute. Can someone bring back the Minister for Energy? There's something we need to finish. I see her walking away. Yes, please conclude.
Right Honourable Minister, Right Honourable Speaker, I beg your pardon. I came along with part of the list of the members in the Uganda who are part, both as individuals, who are importers and manufacturers of materials and apparels, who unite under the umbrella of the Union of Tailors and Textile Manufacturers Association. These are ordinary Ugandans that have started with cheap capital, each of them employing over 100 people, and their businesses are going to close. We cannot sit here and pretend to be legislating when we are legislating our own natives out of business. We must do something, and the Minister of Finance is here. We only have 3 days for this window to get closed that they gave. We either extend it or make an amendment to take back the tax to the status quo that we had before passing this tax. Thank you very much. I beg to lay right, Honorable Speaker, this list of those companies and individuals that import, and they are Ugandan companies and Ugandan people that we cannot afford to lock out of business. We must fight for these people to be in business. They employ fellow Ugandans and they are contributors to our taxes.
Minister of Finance, we addressed this issue last week. Are you ready?
Madam Speaker, we request that we make a statement to this House on Thursday before we adjourn.
Honourable Minister, the moratorium they are given expires on the 30th. It expires tomorrow. You serious, Minister?
Yeah, that will be worked on administratively between today and tomorrow, but then we make a statement on Thursday. In other words, Honorable Nsereko, is that we are going to attend to this matter between now and tomorrow and brief the House on Thursday, because we cannot make a pronouncement on the floor of this House now before adequate consultations have been done with the stakeholders.
Madam Speaker, the Honorable Bahati had from Thursday up to today, 4 days. What magic is he telling us he's going to do in the remaining 2 days? Please, when you're given an assignment and you take it up from this House, Honorable Bahati, with due respect, our Minister for Finance, we expect you to come back with answers, because people's livelihood depends on the solutions that you give. Mere statements will not help. We want feasible solutions. This is why we are legislators, to create solutions that break impasses. That is what people are waiting for. Every single day that a container is not cleared, someone pays damage in thousands of dollars. So if people sit in air-conditioned offices and wait for weeks to take on decisions or to come up with decisions, it's at the economic detriment of another individual. Therefore, your delay is a creation of economic disaster for another. We need a clear answer, Madam Right Honorable Speaker, tomorrow. Minister of Finance is working. That's when the window closes. It will be overtaken by events by October the 1st.
Honourable Minister, tomorrow we must have answers. We must have a solution. I've seen this for the real people, just ordinary Ugandans. So tomorrow we need answers on this issue. Let's go to item 3.
Item 3 on the order paper, bills first reading, the Local Government Amendment Bill 2020. That was wrong.
Item 4.
Item 4.
Local government? Okay.
Madam Speaker,
It's item 3, please.
I beg to lay the bill entitled the Local Government Amendment Bill 2020 for the first time. I beg to lay for the first reading.
Does it require a certificate or not?
Madam Speaker, the copy of the bill had already been laid before the clerk, and we're just making an official pronouncement on the first reading. Yes, members, after reading, the Speaker calls for justification. You just don't justify before you are allowed to justify. Yes.
But where is the minister? Yes.
Madam Speaker, I'm raising on a matter of procedure. Madam Speaker, this is a very critical time when people are under nomination, under local government. They are ending on Thursday. Madam Speaker, my expectation is that the Minister for Local Government would have taken this matter very seriously so that we handle this matter expeditiously with the need it requires. Madam Speaker, last time we witnessed a situation where ministers threw statements here. We are also witnessing another minister, not a minister of the docket, trying to bring such a very critical matter to the people of Uganda through another minister. Where is the line minister, Madam Speaker? This is very unfortunate.
Honourable members, of course, last week we informed the minister that this amendment was very, very crucial and impacts on the rights of those who want to contest for elections. But of course, time is also of essence. But I don't know, there's no one to move a motion to. Maybe I should just send it to the committee. Yes, Honourable both.
Right Honourable Speaker, as you've rightly guided, this matter about the amendment of local government is a matter that was handled last week. I'm afraid that if we have the Attorney General here, we have the Minister of Finance, we have actually a cabinet, and the House is properly constituted, following what Honourable Patrick Nsamba stated. The bill is about the electoral process. The bill, save for one aspect about the age, is purely to harmonize. The other aspect about the women, one woman for each sub-county, where you have personal interests supporting that, and the government wants to repeal, for the record, that is controversial because I will oppose it also. But for the age, it's a matter that we would probably proceed to handle the matter right here and suspend the rules, because there are young people who want to be
nominated tomorrow and before the electoral process ends. So purely, Right Honorable Speaker, if the Attorney General would permit referring this matter to the committee, Madam Speaker, realizing quorum in the committee one of these days is not difficult, but is quite a good challenge.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the matter before us right now is a matter which deserves urgent attention, and like the chairman of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee has stated, Madam, at the moment as we speak, there are a number of citizens out there who are seated glued on their TVs waiting for what Parliament is going to say about this matter. I personally have several cases of such in Agago district where we have people who had gone to get nominated because they thought when the age limit was lifted, it was lifted for every Ugandan to freely enjoy the goodness of being a Ugandan aged 18 to and above, and given the freedom to participate in the electoral processes. So, Madam Speaker, I actually this afternoon, as I was getting into the House, saw the Honorable Raphael Majezi with a copy of the bill, and I actually was very glad that this was going to be presented this afternoon and we resolved the matter. And we are all aware, Madam Speaker, that the deadline for nominations of local governments is tomorrow, on Thursday. So we have only today, Madam Speaker, to sort this matter out and allow our Ugandans to participate in this electoral process. Thank you so much.
Other information, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I know everybody is concerned about the women issue. You are aware, Right Honorable Speaker, that the process of nomination is ending this particular week. Now, we have no choice but to make one of the two decisions. One, that we handle that matter, even if the minister is not here, we can handle. We know the two issues which are sticking issues, the issue of the age, and the minister just has to agree that the age must be uniform. I mean, once you have removed the age limit from the top, then you must remove it from the bottom. I think that is obvious. And then the issue of the women, we have to agree that this parliament had already resolved that one woman should represent one sub-county. And that's already agreed. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I don't see why we should either extend the sitting up to next week or we have to wait for the minister. I don't see anything technical which the chair of the legal cannot handle or the Attorney General cannot handle. Or even you, Right Honorable Speaker, you can guide us. I think all of us here, we know that we understand the issue. We can suspend the rules and we can resolve the matter today.
Right Honorable Speaker, Electoral Commission is closing nominations for these people on the 1st. On the 1st. So we have to handle this thing today so that those people are in a position to do something tomorrow. Otherwise, unless we want to amend for the next government. If we are amending for the next government, then we can discuss those others. But for today, for those people to be nominated before 1st, we must address some of these lacunas today.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The matter has been raised regarding the nominations. Madam Speaker, if the minister, I wish Honorable Opendi can give the Minister for Constitutional Affairs, if the minister feels there is no time, Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, if the minister wants time, then he can ask the Electoral Commission to extend the nomination time. After all, we are even getting nominated so early compared to the previous years where we have been nominated. How can you nominate members of parliament 3.5 months to election date? So, if the minister needs time, let him ask the Electoral Commission to extend the local government nominations up to next week. Then he can extend the other nominations for parliamentary and the one for presidential. After all, it's the presidential that needs more time to cover the whole country. But for members of parliament, you don't need 3 months. How can you even give a presidential candidate 2 months to cover the whole country? Then you give members of parliament 3.5 months. So, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, if the minister needs time, let us give him time, but he should tell the Electoral Commission to do extension of the nominations, because there are people who have already been affected. 2 days, we have not even concluded the matter, and the Electoral Commission is saying for local government they want to...
Information?
Please. I thought I was giving you information.
Okay. Yes, Honorable Boss.
Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of nomination for local government or any other nomination is a matter of administrative procedure, is not a matter embedded in the law. We shared with the Electoral Commission, and that's the common position. Just in case we pass this law today or tomorrow, and some people are closed out, it is still within the mandate of the Electoral Commission to have residual nomination, to extend it for the period for those who could have been left out to be nominated.
So it's not coming.
So nomination is not cast on stone.
Okay.
Thank you,
Now,
Chair. Thank you,
Honour
Chair.
members.
So, now that we are told it's possible.
Honour members, last Thursday we asked the Minister for Justice to consider enlargement of time because of the activities involved. But are the nomination dates cast in stone? You know, we are disenfranchising a number of people by failing to amend this law to allow the young people to contest. Yes?
Right, Honorable Speaker, you remember we were in the House and requested the Electoral Commission to extend the date for registration of these people that had been left out, who didn't register as voters because of the timeline and the age. They had clocked 18 when they had closed. And you saw how they did it and refused. So in the same sector, the same people may refuse if we give them space, unless it's explicit and clear. Otherwise, if we leave it to their discretion, they will refuse, and people will be locked out, and it will continue. Because we already have what happened when they refused to register those that clocked 18. So, Right Honorable Speaker, we must be clear on this so that we know how we are moving.
Honorable Bogo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the chair of the committee has made it clear that the issue of when to do the nomination is an administrative issue by the commission. Right Honorable Speaker, administrative decisions have to be rational. We cannot entertain irrational decisions by an administrative body. It is surprising that the presidential nominations are coming up in November, meaning that a president who has to campaign the whole country has only been given 2 months to campaign. But somebody who is campaigning in a sub-county, just a sub-county, is given 4 months, required to campaign for 4 months or even more. When you ask yourself, what judgment is this? That a chairman LC3, a parish councillor, is nominated before the president and is required to campaign for a longer time than the president. So, Speaker, I think as Parliament we need real training, because we cannot accept this kind of decision, which really is a burden to the common citizen to be tolerated in the whole country. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
But also, honour members, having allowed the president and the chairman to take up nomination at a lower age. We should have taken judicial notice of those changes in relation to the others. If we don't, it means we are discriminating against part of the society. That's what it means. No, if you are young now, you are discriminated against. It's not right. Not
So,
right.
Madam Speaker, it is my humble request that let us deal with this law, whether the minister is around or not, but we would have expected him to be around, but let us handle those parts that are very crucial to this. Because what we asked the minister, when you look in the law, we asked the minister for representation at every sub-county. What he has presented in the bill is just 1/3. When you look at the bill, it is completely not what that's why we needed him around. But Madam Speaker, let us deal with those two issues, the issue of women councillors and the issue of age in this sitting. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, maybe I have a simple proposal to make. Right, Honorable Speaker, already nominations are underway. Unless we as the August House engage the Electoral Commission immediately, because definitely if we make laws now and the process has, I mean, the whole law will be overtaken by events. There is an issue as well of the workers, councillors. No one is nominating them. They are being told the Ministry of Gender is coming up with what sort of guidelines. I don't know whether Ministry of Gender regulates elections or whether it's this August House. Now, for them, they are talking about nominations. No one is talking about their nominations and even consequent elections. So, the entire election cycle is not capturing all the people, notwithstanding that there is also a court ruling on the prisoners and that has not been challenged or vied on the prisoners and the people in the diaspora. Therefore, I agree with you entirely, Right Honorable Speaker. Are these nomination dates cast in stone that they cannot be changed? The answer is there is no logical explanation as to why a councillor nominates way earlier than a presidential candidate. Therefore, we as the mandated people that make laws here and do the oversight role, we recognize the fact that we have an independent electoral commission, but it can only organize elections for all of us when we feel comfortable that everyone is captured, everyone is enfranchised, or is given the opportunity to vote or be voted, and finally, that results shall be transparent.
Honour members, I think I saw the minister in the vicinity, so let's listen to one paper as they organize. But the important thing is that today we must take a decision. In the country, there are people who are waiting to hear about this issue of the age. We can't run away from it. We must deal with it today. So as the minister is organizing himself, let's look at item 4.
Item 4.
Yes.
Statements by ministers.
Minister.
4.1 on the clarification on the alleged consideration by the Electoral Commission not to nominate persons whose names on the national IDs differ from those on their academic transcripts.
Right Honourable Speaker, this August House requested that we produce a bill to consider amending Section 36 of the Registration of Persons Act 2015. Right Honourable Speaker, we prepared, as a ministry, we prepared a cabinet paper which was supposed to be presented to cabinet yesterday, but due to the business on the order paper of cabinet, we were not able to do that. Tomorrow morning we have a special cabinet, a special sitting of cabinet, where we have been given a slot to present that paper. So I seek your indulgence. I'm seeking for extra time so that on Thursday able to come and report to you, having made a presentation to Cabinet. Most obliged.
Yes, Honorable Kibali.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, you are here in the communication from the chair and said recess will begin on 1st. Nomination is on 12th. The Attorney General wants to come on Thursday to present. Eventualities could happen because they have secured the slot on the other paper of Cabinet tomorrow in the morning. I don't know whether morning or afternoon. I wonder whether the Attorney General can't have that issue addressed in the morning, then in the afternoon he comes to present. Because the moment we give room for Thursday, Right Honourable Speaker, and we begin looking for the Attorney General, they who have been looking for the Minister for Local Government, or something happens, it means whoever will have not been sorted out by that day will not be nominated, because the Electoral Commission is clear. They will not nominate someone. So that means we are giving a chance, or we are putting people's nominations at risk because of something small that we can amend. This is the same government, Right Honourable Speaker. Parliament and the Cabinet, unless Cabinet is for Kenya and Parliament is for Uganda. But if we are the same government and we can't harmonize this, and the same ministers that you want to have in the next government, and the ministers that are seeking to be nominated and to be helped in this, I don't know why we can't have this address, Right Honourable Speaker. The office of the Attorney General, the Executive, Parliament and the government must have this amended, put right before Thursday, so that by the time we go for recess, people's hearts are at peace. Otherwise, we are putting their nominations at risk, Right Honourable Speaker, and at the end of the day, they will not be nominated.
Yes, Honourable Boss.
Right Honourable Speaker, again we refer, this is the house where we were the other week. I have never known any electoral sensitive matter like the issue of names. And Madam Speaker, rightly to say, this is again largely affects the women. Largely the women, because it's the women who adopt their husbands' names. We met with the Land Attorney General, with the Electoral Commission, with the Minister of Local Government. If it was to be an amendment, it's a very small amendment. The Minister says he has to do that, rightly so, with the permission of, with the knowledge of Cabinet. People need to know, and I've been, Right Honourable Speaker, I don't know about your office, but they must be bothering you. People think today we are deciding, and we shouldn't be looking at only women MPs. There are other people still in the nomination whose names need to be harmonized. It's a smaller thing that we said, as a committee, we said, go and simplify the process for this change in name, instead of requiring those who have adopted their husband's names, requiring them to gazette. Make it simpler so that statutory notice and an affidavit would be sufficient, because time for nomination and time to gazette would be too wide and would leave out many professionals. Madam Speaker, that is a matter, simple as it is. The Land Attorney General still is requesting for time to go and get consent of Cabinet, which is the right procedure. how do we harmonize the issue of nomination with the variation, not just variation of names, but names which are adopted from the, it's not a criminal for somebody to take a husband's name. And the Attorney General agreed with us. He could only be telling us that this process is done, and we could wait for him and wait for government to come back with this bill. It's a very small, very small amendment, but it's still also an amendment. The Attorney General is whispering to me here.
Right Honourable Speaker, I do not think my senior colleague, Oboth is being fair to me. It is a well-known principle that for a matter to be brought here as an amendment, it has to go to Cabinet first. Last week I presented, on behalf of my senior colleague, the Minister for Local Government, I presented a paper to Cabinet in respect of the women councillors. Twitter went on fire. They insulted me and said I'm making efforts to remove women councillors from being represented. And that's why I think my senior colleague is not being fair to me when he says, or he appears to say, that I'm standing in the way of females who have adopted their spouses' names. Right Honourable Speaker, if it was not a matter of time, we would not have this kind of pressure. I do understand Honourable Chibalia's proposal that if it were possible to have a presentation to Cabinet in the morning and come to Parliament in the afternoon, I do understand that. And in our ministry, we have a division of labor. For example, tomorrow morning I have a meeting scheduled with the Speaker, but my senior colleague, the Attorney General, will be in Cabinet. Immediately after that, we can liaise and see how fast I can get back to this House. I do not want to be, or to be said to be, the stumbling block. I can promise, Right Honourable Speaker, tomorrow I will endeavour to present to this House what will have returned from Cabinet. Thank you very much.
This Honourable Boss.
The Right Honourable Speaker, the Deputy Attorney General, who is my friend, and not until a few months ago, I have been his chairperson in the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. And he knows I mean well. He's imputing words, and when Attorney General says such words, the record may capture it that I was saying what he was saying. In fact, I was supporting you. There's no way you can come here without the consent and the approval of Cabinet. It's not you, sir. Were you saying that I said that you were against the women? Madam Right Honourable Speaker, I didn't say that. And the Attorney General knows that for the record, future readers should never say that there's any issue between me and the Attorney General. What is important is that we have time behind everybody. And now when you said about the women councillors, I was one of those also who tweeted, but I'm not a woman. Thank you very much.
So, Attorney General, we want to advise that maybe you seek the earliest opportunity in the Cabinet in the morning to get that cleared. You leave the Cabinet and go and deal with the bill and then come here by lunchtime. is really, really crucial. Because I think we shall not forgive ourselves for failing to address this injustice. It's an injustice. Yes, Honorable Jalia?
Madam Speaker, the law the way it is as we speak now, it's unfair. It has created injustice on the womanhood of Uganda. Because as we speak now, it's women who are running up and down to get the deed poll. They have to rush it to Entebbe, and we are hardly having the necessary requirement time to have it gazetted. So the issue we are discussing about is an issue of humanity and fairness, and it's embedded in our constitution. So, Madam Speaker, the Attorney General should consider this issue as an urgent issue. There is no way you will continue telling us, the women of Uganda, that we should use the men's names when we are married, when you are doing us the service. So, Madam Speaker, this issue should be handled with the utter urgency it deserves, not later than even tomorrow, because we are hardly 2 weeks to the nomination, and yet to gazette you need 2 weeks or more. So, Madam Speaker, I want to urge the Attorney General, tomorrow, if at all we are even to have a sitting in the morning, let's sit and have this issue sorted out. And in the future, Madam Speaker, all the laws that we enact, we pass here in the House, we should have gender lens in those laws. Because this law, actually our colleagues here are seated comfortably. Bintu Jalia Lukumu, I have to make sure I run to make sure I own up the name Lukumu. You can imagine, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the issue of amending the law, I think it is very urgent, because I am a practicing lawyer, and since yesterday I've been receiving a number of people who want to comply with the law as it is, but it cannot, because the days that are left are not enough to have the women change or adopt their names and then gazette. So you cannot comply with the law, and it is very important that there is equality, and that some people are not discriminated upon. Madam Speaker, that will bring about a number of cases against the Attorney General, constitutional cases. So I think it is in the interest of not only the women, but also the government, for it will incur a lot of costs and damages if it does not bring the amendment soonest. So I want to pray and plead with my land brother that if tomorrow we can have this bill, process it, and everyone who is at peace. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, we have agreed that that bill should be here tomorrow to be processed. But I was wondering, Honourable Attorney General, whether you cannot actually seek, I know don't want to interfere with the EC, but they're dealing with people, they're dealing with elections, they're dealing with the candidates. And the candidates who will not be able to meet the conditions. Can there be an enlargement of time, even for a week? You imagine traveling from Kitgum, you come to Entebbe for the gazettes, when you do what, you know.
Right Honourable Speaker, as we appear before Cabinet tomorrow, I'm sure several other options will be considered. And we can see how to liaise with the Electoral Commission. Then when we come here, I'll have a complete idea of what I have to state on record.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's go to
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have had colleagues talking about the nomination of the local government, the councillors. And Madam Speaker, I thought we removed, while we wanted the local government councils to have qualifications, that was not the case. And therefore, Madam Speaker, there is no qualification required. There is no academic document required for the lower local governments for them to be nominated. And therefore, I just wanted to bring this to inform the House and members that there is no qualification, and therefore it is not a requirement that somebody who wants to contest for maybe councillorship or at district or sub-county, they don't require any qualification. So what certificates are members talking about? So it is only for the district chairperson that I know that they have to present academic documents, but also, no, I am talking about the issue of qualification, and I just thought that we should be clear on that there is no academic requirement, and therefore the councillors who want to contest are free to go and get nominated. It is only for the district chairpersons. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Let's wait for the other issue of the name, the names at the other level. We shall get an answer tomorrow from the Attorney General. Item 42, Internal Affairs, are they here?
No.
Hmm?
No.
43?
Item 43.
Hmm? Honorable Pachito.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to seek clarification. Madam Speaker, I do agree that we have to move very fast and process this bill. But what is wondering in my mind is, if the House passes the bill tomorrow, it still has to go to the President to assent. What guarantee do we have that the President will expressively, very fast, sign this bill? Which one should we do first? I think that we should first push for Electoral Commission to extend the nomination dates as we process the bill. Madam Speaker, I beg to submit.
If there is will, that bill can be signed in a day. If there is will, it will be assented to. But certainly, like for the young people who want to stand for chairmanship, we may need extension of time. If they're ending on the 3rd and they're not yet sure whether they're eligible to contest, we shall need extension of time. On the 1st. Honourable Minister of Local Government, please help us.
Item 3 on the order paper bills first reading, the Local Government Amendment Bill 2020.
Does it keep going down? Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, honourable members. I'd like to thank my colleague, Honourable Maganda. I'm told he had already moved that the bill entitled the Local Governments Amendment Bill 2020 be read the first time. Madam Speaker, I beg to justify this bill, and I have its certificate of finance implications, and I will, at the appropriate time, request that the House agrees to suspend the Rule 128 so that we can expeditiously handle this bill.
Is the motion seconded? The motion of first reading, is it seconded? Seconded by several members.
Thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker, the Local Governments Amendment Bill 2020 is necessary to align the Local Governments Act Cap 243 and the Local Governments Amendment Act 2020 with the provisions of the Constitution as amended. This amendment is needed urgently for application during the forthcoming 2021 general elections.
Honourable Minister, I think we need to move for suspension first so that we can go for the second reading, then you justify.
Madam Speaker, I thought I'd move that I use Rule 16, and I'm proposing that we do suspend Rule 128 so that we can expeditiously handle the Local Governments Amendment Bill 2020. I beg to move.
Honourable members, that motion seconded? Motion is seconded.
Thank you very much, honourable colleagues. Madam Speaker, this bill is necessary so as to remove the requirement for lower and upper age limits for a person to qualify to be elected chairperson of a lower local government, as currently provided under the Local Governments Act. If you look at the Local Governments Act, Section 111, subsection 4C, it is clear that for one to become a chairperson of the municipality, municipal division, city division, town council, or sub-county, one must be not less than 30 years old and not more than 75 years old. We think we need to amend this in line with the Constitution amendment which we made in 2017, which removed the age limits for district chairperson and president of Uganda. Secondly, the bill will also seek to reinstate the reservation of 1/3 of membership of councils being reserved for women as provided under the various sections of the Local Governments Act. This is in line with the Constitution, Article 182B, which provides that 1/3 of the membership of each local government council shall be reserved for women. Honourable colleagues, you will recall that in the recent Local Government Act amendment, which we did in July and August this year, we amended the law such that a woman councillor is directly elected to represent each electoral area in every local government. Cabinet's position on this matter is that the constitutional provision on affirmative action, as it is in Article 180, Sub-Article 2B in the Constitution, is adequate for now because of the following reasons. Reason number one, the issue of timing. The National Independent Electoral Commission roadmap and electoral processes are already underway, including nomination of candidates for various leadership positions in local governments. Secondly, party primaries. Because of the multi-party dispensation, the political parties have already held their primaries or other arrangements to select their flag bearers based on the status quo as per the Electoral Commission guidelines. And issue number three, the cost implication. This proposal of one woman councillor per sub-county will automatically expand the councils, and this is going to impose a significant strain on the budget, especially during this time of the COVID pandemic. Madam Speaker, government appreciates the need to build on the efforts we have made in gender equity and fairness in representation at all government levels. Government will study this proposal in detail and advise on the appropriate reforms to be undertaken. In terms of financing, the implementation of the provisions of this Local Government Amendment Bill they have no additional financial cost, and I have the certificate which I lay on table. In conclusion, honourable colleagues, I'm here to request Parliament, one, to approve the Local Governments Amendment Bill 2020, to remove the requirement for lower and upper age limits for a person to qualify for election as chairperson of a municipality, a division, a town council, or a sub-county. And 2, to reinstate the relevant provisions of the Local Governments Act to provide for 1/3 of the council to be reserved for women. I beg to move, and Madam Speaker, I hereby lay on table a copy of the bill and the original copy of the certificate of finance implication.
Now, Honourable Minister, the bill was published on the 21st September 2020, and it's required to come in after 14 days. So I want you to move now under Rule 129.5 to suspend the 14 days so that we can proceed to second reading.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable colleagues, I beg to move that Parliament suspends Rule
129.
129, which requires 14 days before the second reading of the bill. I hereby beg to move that we do suspend that rule.
Is that motion seconded? Okay, seconded.
Bill second reading.
It's been seconded.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Local Governments Amendment Bill 2020 be read for the second time.
The Local Government Amendment Bill 2020.
Honourable members, you may now speak to the bill. Motion for second reading. Honourable Esiangu, Honourable Kamateka. Who wants to speak?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank the Minister for responding quickly on this urgent matter, which was going to create a lot of anxiety. It was going to differentiate a lot of people. I'm sure it could have been an oversight when we were amending this bill in the first place. But nevertheless, we are not too late. But Honourable Minister, this bill has come in a bit late. What we need now more is to give an opportunity for those who have been left out to be able to be included in the election process. What do we mean? Electoral Commission, because now already we are getting complaints outside. The time given is too small, and the population is big. There are so many people who are interested in participating into this politics. But the Electoral Commission must now look into the nitty-gritty so that we don't lock out the people, the young people who want to take up leadership in this country. So this is very critical. I am happy that we are considering now and giving them an opportunity. As this House, I thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Kamateka, followed by Honourable Otieno.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I also want to thank the Minister for the bill. But I must say that we feel terrible as women members of Parliament, feeling terrible on behalf of the women councillors who must continue to bear the burden of handling 2 sub-counties while their men counterparts are handling only 1 sub-county. This Parliament did sit and pass the law that every sub-county should be represented by a female councillor. And we don't know why the Minister kept quiet until this moment to come with this excuse that it is late. Right Honourable Speaker, it is also unfair to say that we should keep the burden on the women councillors just because it is going to have financial implications on the treasury. These people do not even get
They don't get salary.
a salary, Right Honorable Speaker. They just get a token allowance, sitting allowance. So it is really unfair. And for this government, the NRM government that has championed the rights of women, equality of women, to come at this minute to say that the women councillors should continue to bear the burden of 2 sub-counties while their male counterparts all this time are handling only 1 sub-county, it is so unfair. We have all been dealing with issues of equity, and we are a country that is highly prized for dealing with for guaranteeing and dealing with issues of rights of women, rights of children, rights of Ugandans indeed, dealing with issues of equality and equity. And it is so, it defeats logic that the government should come now at this material time and claim that this issue should not be entertained because of expenses. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, we have been creating constituencies to ensure that men do stand in these constituencies. I know that constituencies can be, women can also stand for these constituencies, but it has been mainly to benefit the men. And the expenditure on the constituency is far, it far outweighs the consideration for the expenditure for the councillor, really, in the interest of equity and equality. We should insist that the sub-counties be represented, that each sub-county be represented by a woman councillor. I thank you.
Now, honour members, now with the hindsight, I think Cabinet cannot go back on this clause. The law was passed, it was assented to. The areas which the President was interested in, he returned and we handled, so we cannot change now. We cannot. Honourable Humusa, we cannot. No.
Honourable members, I move a motion that the debate closes and then we go to the committee stage and consider the bill.
Okay, let's have Honourable Muhumuza.
Madam Speaker.
Muhumuza, where is he?
Madam Speaker.
Honourable Muhumuza. Otieno Muhumuza, and then...
Madam Speaker.
Please.
It's a procedure matter, Madam Speaker.
Why don't you allow me to speak first? I had called some members. Honourable Otieno Muhumuza, then we go to Abala, and then Akol, Agabu, and then you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for granting me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I want to support the motion and thank the Minister for coming up with this. However, I just have a few observations to make, Madam Speaker. What else is okay, and I think that was the spirit we had, that we should not discriminate and people from contesting or offering themselves on the basis of age. I have a problem with the way the Minister has worded this, the motion here, where we are talking about removing the lower age. I think when it comes to the lower age, we are not removing, we are simply lowering it. Because if you say we remove the lower age, it means you are removing even the constitutional age of 18. You may find a senior 4 chap who is just 16 years or 14 years offering himself for Chairman LC3, and that may bring us problems. So, Madam Speaker, when it comes to the lower age, I think the Minister may have to reframe. Instead of saying you are removing, we're actually just lowering it. Having said that, Right Honourable Speaker, I must say it was the spirit when we were amending the Constitution to allow everybody who was above 18 years to offer himself or herself for elective positions right from LOC 3 or LOC 1 actually. Right now, Speaker, the challenge we have is that most of us thought that is what was contained in the bill. It is only surprising that we learned much later that actually we did not include everybody, and I think this is a challenge in the House, Right Honourable Speaker. We need maybe in future, Right Honourable Speaker, to be given copies of these bills once they have been assented to by the President, so that we scrutinize and know exactly whether what we passed or what we intended has been captured, or is the spirit has been maintained the same. Otherwise, we would have cured this much earlier, Right Honourable Speaker, if we had been given copies of this bill, because all along we have been thinking that the spirit we had when we were passing we were amending the age limit, the age cap, was spread throughout all circles. Then then finally, Right Honourable Speaker, I share the pain of the ladies that we should have had their representation in every sub-county. But again, this is an oversight on our side. Because this is a constitutional matter, we should have focused on amending the Constitution, Right Honourable Speaker. So I think next time, the Honourable Minister for Local Government, I know instead of going to tussle with your colleagues in the Cabinet, what you should have done is to bring a constitutional amendment. I don't know whether you are the one to bring or anybody, but this should have come as a... So it's a cosmetic approach. This is a cosmetic approach. We are giving the women hope that we are going to give them, allow them to have a representation in every sub, when actually the principal law remains unchanged. So what we should have done is, first of all, to go and amend the Constitution. So that provision which says a third, we could have made it read at least a third, so that the women could be in position to have a representation. Okay, can I receive information? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable colleague. You are raising some very important matters. One, when we say remove the lower age limit, it does not mean that you can be elected even at 10 years. You still have in law the requirement for you to first be a voter. So that means you must be 18 plus. But also secondly, when we amended the Constitution, we could not have amended the law of age limit for the chairpersons of the sub-counties and the divisions and town councils, because that is not in the Constitution. In the Constitution, you have only for the district chairperson and the president. But of necessity, what we are bringing now is consequential on that since you did it for the other offices, even for the law offices, it should happen. I thank you very much.
Honorable...
Thank you.
Please conclude.
Okay, thank you, Honourable Minister, for that clarification. But I think once you say in a law that we have removed the lower age limit, then it becomes another matter. Because once the word was said you have removed, because the lower age limit now is 18. Now when you come and say we are removing the lower age limit, it may still create confusion. So we just need clarity. My emphasis is, let us have clarity in the law. The law must be very clear that whoever reads it is not given, should not again have that mindset that what are they meaning? Can they allow somebody who has just left senior 4 to also contest? So we just need to get that very clear, because we cannot change the law. Even that 18, it is in the law, we can amend it. So thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Muhumuza, then Abara, then Akol, then Akelo, then Oshabe.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I stand to support the proposed amendments in the bill. First of all, I want to thank the Minister for Local Government for working on this very fast, because, like colleagues said, people are waiting for this today. How I wish, like a colleague raised here, that immediately we are done with this, the President quickly assents to it, so that takes effect, to allow Ugandans benefit from this, because they are waiting. I will not spend time on the age limit because, like the minister said, this is a consequential amendment arising from the amendment we made in 2017 for the president and the LC5 chairpersons. We couldn't have seen this because, like the minister said, this one was not in the constitution, and that time we were only amending the constitution. But since we have seen that this one remained in the Local Government Act, I support that we remove that age restriction. Whoever is 18 years and above, since we don't even have academic requirements for these lower levels, then that person is to be free to stand. Madam Speaker, I have issues with the other amendment. I share the pain also with the females. Why we should have for each sub-county represented by a male councillor, but when it comes for the women, we begin burdening them with more than one sub-county. I find it illogical, I find it unfair. Madam Speaker, I've raised on this floor before why we don't look at all these details when we are planning, when we are creating these sub-counties and lower local governments. For instance, I raised before, it is a policy of government that for every sub-county, we should have a health center 3. For every sub-county, we should have a secondary school. And all of these have cost implications. But when we are creating these sub-counties and lower local governments, we ignore them, we don't raise them. Now when it comes to an elected councillor who is a female, we begin raising issues of cost implications. And yet, these councillors, Madam Speaker, are not paid salaries. They only get sitting allowances. So I find it unfair and weak to bring an argument that, you know, we cannot have a female councillor for each sub-county because of cost implications. No. For me, I think we shouldn't backtrack on this. We should be fair to the women. If a male councillor is representing a sub-county, we should also have one female councillor representing a sub-county, just to be fair. I thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Abala. Then Akol, Akelo, Oshabe. Then we close with the third.
Madam Speaker.
Where is Amero? Honorable Amero, where is she going? Oh, okay.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the report he has, this motion that he has brought here. But I want to begin from the point my colleague ended, the issue of discriminating and ignoring the voices of women when it comes to leadership, especially when it comes to, like now, representing sub-counties. Remember, each sub-county is being represented by a male councillor. And then now for us, we are saying, for you, the women, you are more powerful. You represent 2 sub-counties, and all 3, all 5. Now, Madam Speaker, that one, as a member of WAPA, I just want to request the Minister here to tell the women in this country, especially those councillors, that we are sorry, because it is bad manners, it's not proper, and it's not, it's uncalled for us to amend what the President really had actually assented to.
Yes.
That's one thing that we must be very, very clear, Madam Speaker. And then on the same, to say that political parties have already held their primaries. I'm also sure even today, there were nominations somewhere in this country. I'm also sure the past 1 week or so, there have been elections, and the next few days there are going to be elections in some political parties. I'm also sure. I don't know which justification, whether that's a proper justification to such that we will keep women representing a bigger constituencies like sub-counties or not. That one, I don't agree with that one. Madam Speaker, I also want to say, now that we are talking about amending this law, I do not know, I want to be helped to understand, and other Ugandans, that will electoral commission adjust the time? Now we are going to adjust the ages, because there are people who were sent away from the nomination centers because of the issue of this law. Now, if we amend this law, are they going to, as the electoral commission, going to adjust time such that such a category of people are also welcome to the table of nomination, so that tomorrow they can go and begin looking for votes. That's then the final one, Madam Speaker. I want to say that this law is good, but I'm questioning why the Attorney General, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, why they have been quiet, the Equal Electoral Commission have been quiet all this period, and then they know there was an amendment here. That means that there's supposed to be a consequential amendment. I'm wondering why they were quiet, whether they were in their honeymoon that time, I don't know. They need to be helped, so that now at this stage, when the exercise of nomination is ongoing, that's the time the Ministry of Local Government is bringing the amendment. That's one my request. I want to be helped in those two areas. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Honorable Akor. Then Honorable Frank Akelo, Honorable Shave.
Madam Speaker, I support the amendment about the age limit for the lower council. And I have to thank my friend, Honorable Magezi, for bringing it. It has affected many people in my constituency. I still remember two people who were turned down at nomination table. And one of them decided to take nomination paper for Councillor 5 instead of local council 3 chairperson. And I was thinking aloud, how will this person now change after nominating again to be the Councillor 5 to go back to the position he was already consulting for? I think that is something that it is going to affect many Ugandans at this point that we are making the amendment. I support the amendment of the age limit for the lower council. But Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate that the Ministry of Finance, even after accepting some other constituencies that we created, they have decided to say no for the amendment so that we have one woman representing a sub-county. I think this is unacceptable for us as members of parliament, because we are quite aware that there is no payment of salary, that they are paid only the allowances. And that's not a big money. That adjustment can be done. I have seen the Minister of Finance each and every time coming with supplementary, and therefore, Madam Speaker, I am saying we have to stand our ground, and we are saying each woman should be representing a sub-county, and that we should not go back thinking that we can change that decision of ours. If there is need for us to go and amend the Constitution, it is very good that right now we have the Attorney General tomorrow still going to the Cabinet. They can do paperwork. I don't mind whether you're going to do it at night, but it is important that we compromise our position and come and say that we want one woman to represent a sub-county. I want to give you an example. One of the sub-counties in my district is called Lakang, and then another one is called Laima. Madam Speaker, it is almost a constituency for a member of parliament for a woman to represent these two sub-counties in a council. It is impossible, actually. Now, if you are reasoning that the primaries have already ended, that is fine. We have people who are in position 2 in the primary elections. So automatically they become the party candidates for those parties. For example, in my constituency, information.
Yes. Honorable Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, the information I would like to share with my good brother is to the effect that matters of political party primaries are not matters that you can ably use in this House. We've gotten by-elections. This House is enjoined to make laws that works for everyone. So the justification for political party primaries are about parties which are not having primaries. There are people who can nominate. And the NRM is not the only party. So we can't talk here, give justification that because NRM is done with the political party. I know in my constituency, people who were nominated in the NRM primaries for sub-counties, and most of them failed because they were concentrating. There's a lady called Susan, concentrating in Molanda. And she could not go on when the Electoral Commission said no more. And the issue of the Constitution amendment, Madam Speaker, Article 180 of the Constitution, 2B, is not being read together with Article 180, 2D. Same paragraph, same Constitution, which gives this Parliament mandate, gives this Parliament the powers to review, to exercise the power to review the composition, the function of local government council, just like under Article 72. We review composition, 78(2) of the Constitution, as we do for Parliament. We just did the other week, the other month, on the elderly. Now, why are we shortchanging? That's the information. I hope you find them relevant.
Madam Speaker, I thank the wisdom from the Honourable Chair for Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. Madam Speaker, it is very clear that we are not supposed to, actually we will not accept the amendment on the 1/3 that the Minister is bringing forward, and I actually implore members to actually agree with me that it is unfair for women of Uganda. I was raised by a woman. My father died when I was in P5. And I know the struggle that women make for this country. And it is unfair for us to say that women should represent 2 or 3 sub-counties while a man should represent only 1 sub-county. It is unfair. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, I still want to remind you that any attempt to alter what we did is smuggling, because there is a procedure by which the President returns the bills and identifies the areas of amendment. He did not touch this area. But secondly, we have powers. Constitution under Article 180, 2D, we have those powers. They are here. We have the powers. The Honourable Akelo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for standing firm on that matter. And so that is the point at which I want to start. The proposal by the Honourable Minister to reject the signature of His Excellency the President, to me, is disobedience of the highest order, and is not allowed to unpack what the President has sealed. So for that matter, Madam Speaker, that issue of having women councillors represent each constituency or each sub-county must stand. And for that matter, Madam Speaker, I really think the Electoral Commission should move very fast to redemarcate, because in the current provisions, they have maintained the status quo. So they have to unpack, because there are some councillors, actually, women councillors, who represent 4 sub-counties. So in such a case, Madam Speaker, and you find sub-counties that are very, very big, geographically and also in terms of population. And the fact that it doesn't have any direct financial implication, Madam Speaker, it doesn't really hold water for the Minister to make such a proposal. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I would like to support, for obvious reasons, the proposal to remove the age limit, the age cap for councillors, for LC3s and LC5s and any other positions in this country. Madam Speaker, when you sent us to consult our voters on this matter, majority of Ugandans knew that the proposal was meant for everybody. And for instance, in my district, already people were saying, okay, since you want to remove the age limit for you politicians, also remove the age limit for us who are workers, such that there is no retirement. So those were the proposals. That means every Ugandan thought the removal of the age cap was meant to remove for all positions. And so that is why, Madam Speaker, there was a very high turn-up of young people to vie for these positions because they thought it was already removed. So I think this proposal is just to correct that error which was made, which is obvious, and so we would like to thank the Minister for that, and I want to propose. You want to give me information? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Akero, for giving way. Parliament did pass this particular act that is attempted to be amended in this particular session. And I want to bring to the attention of members our Rule 219 that prohibits this House from considering a matter that it has considered in a particular session unless there is a motion to revisit that particular decision, and which motion is taken on by half of all members of Parliament participating in that decision. So what the Minister is attempting to bring to remove what we passed that favors women is against our Rule 219. And for that matter, we remove that to be expunged.
Please conclude.
Thank you so much, Honorable Niwagaba, for that insightful information. And I think that seals the matter on representation of women councillors. Definitely, we shall be very glad that this evening onwards, the women councillors or those who want to vie for these positions will prepare to represent each sub-county. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, I would like to urge that the Electoral Commission, that this House resolves that the Electoral Commission extends the period for nomination to allow these adjustments. And I'm sure when we do this, it will give room and time for those who had backed out because of this blockade. Thank you so much.
Okay, honour members, as I invite Honourable Gutamoi, I just wanted to let you know, when we were vying for the Central Executive Committee positions, one of the things that the women talked about was the large areas they represent. And they asked me how unfair is it going to continue, this unfairness, should it continue? When I said we amended the law, they were excited, really excited. And when we were making the law, I told you about my councillor, Jessica. She was representing Buramuti Rural and Buramuti Town Council. And Chisozi Rural and Chisozi Town, 4 sub-counties. What's affirmative there? Yes, Honorable Shabi.
Madam Speaker, when I saw Honorable Majesty's name on the local government amendment over age limit, I knew the age limit is following him. We hope that it follows him, even to the Ministry of Labour, judiciary, everywhere where we want the age limit to be removed. But Madam Speaker, the matter of age, since the proponent of age limit is removing it, I support it. But Madam Speaker, I'm worried. We are talking about, as members, we proposed to the Minister something different. And when you look at the way the bill is coming, Madam Speaker, the bill is not proposing what we are discussing. The bill is proposing 1/3 of the council. I do not know whether the Minister wants us to put a legislation over this by implication, or we do it directly the way the members are discussing it, so that we leave this place knowing we have taken a decision that every sub-county is represented by a woman councillor. But what is happening in the bill, Madam Speaker, I'm proposing that at committee stage, probably we need to make an amendment to the proposals the way they are presented in the bill, so that we have exactly what we are discussing on the floor of Parliament. Thank you very much, Madam
Shall
Speaker.
do that at committee stage. Honorable Gutamoi, Ogwal, finally Ababiku. Minister Opendi? Okay. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I stand to support the motion. I want to thank the Honourable Minister for Local Government for finally bringing us on the positive side. However, Right Honourable Speaker, I know for the Honourable Minister of Local Government, there's going to be urge for more local council level, up to village level. And what I now know is that in my constituency, or in Lira district, there are electoral laws going up to some villages. But some villages have not been affected. They are still under local government. Now, why is it that some villages belong to local government and then they don't belong to electoral commission? And they are urged to come together and vote in one location. So I think that one also in future should be put right, so that we don't have discrepancy of electoral areas, that is the village, not tallying with the village in the electoral system. Then two, I wanted the Honourable Minister maybe to clarify, when we were creating a March town council, apparently we have lost a March sub-county in the local government list. I don't know how far this matter has been taken seriously. But the Right Honourable Speaker, this creation is going to seriously affect the lower councillors. I think it's now time that the Honourable Minister begins to think of how these people's allowances could be increased, because they don't earn salaries, but they earn allowances. And now it's going to urge more of these local units to be created. And therefore, one thing that can be of a benefit to them and efficiency for them is to increase something for them in terms of their sitting allowances. Otherwise, if this is done, it will cause effective and efficient working system in the local government system. The Honourable Minister, I am really grateful, because in the past, before this bill, Uganda belongs to all the citizens of Uganda. But when it comes to election, it was very funny, where politics belong only to some categories of people. But now we have respected the constitution of this country. Of 18 years and above, you are a very active person. So now it means Uganda politics now belongs to all those who are above 18 years and above. So thank you very much for your effort. May God bless you.
Mabogwa, then Ababiku, then Opendi.
Right Honourable Speaker, after listening to the discussions, I think we are more or less agreed on the principles. The matter has already been resolved by this Parliament, and the Minister can only now get himself busy to come up with a more appropriate presentation at the committee level. But as far as we are concerned, Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of age has been resolved through this discussion, and I'm sure the Minister must be working on the amendment. On the
Up next on UBC, brought to you by Airtel TV, a world of entertainment on your phone. No ad interruptions, no subscription fees. Download the app for free now from Google Play and App Store. Terms and conditions apply.
Karibu mtazamaji wa UBC TV kwa hii siku ya 29 ya mwezi wa Septemba mwaka wa 2020. Kama kawaida tumekusanyia habari mbalimbali vile zimezibuka huko uwanjani na kukuletea moja kwa moja kutoka hapa mji wa Kampala. Naitwa Edwin Yachora na habari yetu ya kwanza inasema waliorambishwa sakafu katika uchaguzi wa mashinani wa chama cha NRM katika eneo la Kigezi wametoa yamini kwamba wataenda wakutane na mwenyekiti wa chama hicho ambaye ni Rais Museveni na kumwelezea mambo yao ambayo hayajaidhinishwa vizuri na jopo lililote